Hey Libra, how's it going? My name's Alex. I think the Oracle and I have some messages for you here today. Before I got started, or before I turned on the camera, I was meditating, and this was a very interesting one. First of all, it took a very long time for the message to come through, and I think it's because my my supernatural assistant, my guardian spirit, wanted someone else to come through. And it just took a really, really long time. And I felt like a pulsing in my hand, kind of coming from my forearm and moving forward toward my fingers. And it was almost as steady as a heartbeat. And it was sort of undulating, like moving. It wasn't quite as steady as a heartbeat, but it was something like that. And it felt like whatever this entity was wanted to auto-write with my hand. And it didn't. It might, I don't know, it didn't have enough strength maybe, or I don't know what it was, or maybe it was just a little reluctant to use my hand, because I think this being might have been for you. I really don't think it was for me, because my guardian angel just sort of let it happen, just sort of stood aside and was like, this is what Libra needs to know. This isn't for me. This is for you. And then this little gray guy, like a gray-skinned dude, looked a lot like a human, but like smallish. If he was standing next to me, he'd probably be like 4 feet high and pretty skinny, maybe less than 4 feet. And it had like this frizzy white long hair. This was a weird one. And I thought of like a dark elf or a Sviatolf, if you know like the Nordic tradition. But yeah, like basically, I think it was a dark elf. And it was making sort of like this childish buzzing sound with its mouth, like a meh. It was really weird. And then it showed me a big letter M that looked like a little bit like this. It was ornate though. I couldn't draw it, but it was like made out of this gray blue metal, and it had kind of like etchings, like nice curvy lines inside of it. Like a nice ornate letter M that you might see on like a garden fence, or like on like a gate to the driveway of someone's mansion or something like that. Just a nice ornate gray blue metal M. And it was very, very weird. I've never seen a dark elf like that. I don't think I've ever seen a dark elf, period. If that's what that was. But I got this sense that there's someone or something that wants to talk to you, and it might not be strong enough to talk to you, or there might be some agreement that you made that needs to be renegotiated or maybe fulfilled or something. That's kind of the vibe I got. It's weird. But then the I Ching hexagram I pulled for you was hexagram 10, fulfillment. And this is about fulfilling agreements and performing one's duties. And it's the two elements of heaven above and lake below that make up this hexagram, which is like the strength and certainty of heaven and the gentleness and meekness of a calm lake. And using both of these energies to perform one's duty or to fulfill agreements that you made, or maybe someone's fulfilling an agreement with you. And that could be why it wanted to use my hand to auto-write, but it couldn't, because this is not between me and it. It's for you. And you might be in like a state of mind where you're not being receptive to some sort of communication or something that needs to happen. Maybe you're just like too busy, or I don't know, you're just maybe a little distracted or something, or you've got a lot going on. But there is like the final stage of an agreement that's ready to be fulfilled, so that next steps can occur. But This also is a tough situation to be in when this hexagram comes out. It means you're in a pretty tough situation. If you see here, there are 5 solid lines and 1 yielding line. And that yielding line there is the host of this hexagram because it is the only yielding line. And that's like one little bit of yin energy between a lot of yang energy. It's kind of like being between a rock and a hard place. And in order to get out of it, you have to, it's in the I Ching, or in the Yao text, it's called walking on the tiger's tail. And basically what that means is like incapacitating a tiger by stepping on its tail so it won't bite you. And carrying out your duty after the tiger's tail's been stepped on and the tiger has been incapacitated. And so this is really the idea of, well, during when this book was written, when the I Ching was written, or afterward, the guy who wrote the I Ching or organized it was taking out a tyrant. He was in the process of overthrowing a tyrannical regime. And one of the things he did was subduing the lieutenants of this tyrant instead of going after the tyrant directly. So he spent many years either making deals with, subduing and imprisoning, or, you know, a more final solution with the tyrant's lieutenants, weakening the tyrant's power and influence over people, and replacing those lieutenants with his own that the people liked better. And by the time many of these lieutenants were taken out of power and replaced, the tyrant was in a very weak spot, and the revolution was successful, and the tyrant was taken down. So if he attacked the tyrant directly, he very likely would have lost, and that would have been bad for everybody, and he would not have fulfilled his promise, his duty that he had promised to carry forth, which was to liberate his people from tyranny. And he had to be very, very cautious. This is like walking on eggshells, being very circumspect in fulfilling this duty, to find the careful, cautious way to finish doing this. So if you've been working with perhaps non-human entities or performing ritual magic or engaging in parapsychology or occultism in general in some way, be careful of the sort of deals you make. And if you were looking for help from the other side, I think the help is about to be offered to you, but it's being offered to you by not the most savory or selfless of entities. And I'm not judging who you choose to work with. I'm just saying be careful, because they're coming knocking around now. They're knocking on your door, and they want you to fulfill your end of the bargain. They want to perform their end of the bargain. They want to get this thing going. Now maybe this is in the human world, maybe this has nothing to do with that little dark elf, but that could just be the energy, the vibe of what you're dealing with. This is kind of like a you scratch my back, I scratch yours moment, like this situation that you're in. So make sure you read the fine print. Make sure you don't sign anything you're not 100% sure of. If you need to get a lawyer to look it over, set aside the money to hire a lawyer to read the contract. Like, be real careful how you approach this, how you receive this help. And like, it could work out. As long as you're courteous and righteous, which is the key for this particular hexagram, is to act with courteousness and righteousness. Courteousness means treating others with good manners who are in different social classes from us. So people who are above us or below us in the social hierarchy, we treat them with respect and with manners. And as long as we do that with the backbone of righteousness, meaning we're not being pretentious or fake about it, we have a real goal to achieve, and it's an honorable goal, you're well-intentioned and so on, and you keep that righteousness plus your courteousness, you'll get out of this situation. But you got to be really, really careful, and I think you have to subdue this tiger's capacity to bite you. You have to make sure that you're not walking in just right into the tiger's face here. There's some circumspect path, or you got to defang the beast or declaw it, something like that needs to happen as you take these steps forward. I don't know, this is a weird one, so I'm just going to get right into the cards because I don't really know how to interpret this. It's extremely strange. But yeah, well, let's see what Libra needs to know. Come on. And clarify this. What do we need to pull cards on for Libra? Well, it's not pointing at anything, it's pointing at me. I'm going to spin it again. Curiouser and curiouser. Okay, here we have the symbol for Anael, the planetary spirit of Venus. So some Venusian energy. So, okay, this is going to go your way as long as you're careful. You have help here. This person that you're dealing with does truly want to help you, probably. Or as they have their own intention, like good intentions, but they also, they probably just expect something in return. But I don't think they have bad intentions. It's just, if you both don't fulfill your obligations correctly, there could be like another force at play here that will like rectify the situation. I don't want to use the word punish you both, but like there's like a third party that's like observing this deal or this transaction, and if it's not carried out according to the terms, there might be consequences. But the intentions are pure, the help is there, the fulfillment of this goal is noble and above board, and you have guardian spirits based in love, loving, angelic, Venusian type spirits that are gonna help you walk through these eggshells without breaking any. So if you need to call upon some loving spirits like that, perhaps your ancestors, perhaps just Anael herself, or the planetary spirit of Venus, that Aphrodite energy, to help you through this, she's there to help you now, and she'll be responsive to you. So let's see here. So we have the Knight of Pentacles. Felt like a other one kind of wanted to stick out with it. I'll give it another chance to come out, just in case. 3 shuffles, if it doesn't come out, it doesn't come out. Okay. They're both in reverse here. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and the Tower in reverse. Yes, this is a tread carefully moment. Well, when I get a Tower in reverse, that just makes me think of like the Tower, but less significant. It's not like the opposite of the Tower or anything like that. It's like something is not gonna work out the way everyone wants it to. There might be a necessity to compromise right now, and rather quickly. You know, the Knight of Pentacles in reverse is like the time for slow action is gone. You can't, like you may have been stepping slowly and carefully, which is correct. Like this is caution. Like you have to still step carefully, but you can't step slowly anymore. So you have to get all your ducks in a row now. Like, don't put off reading the contract and the fine print. Like, do it tonight and think about it, and then read it again tomorrow morning. Get someone to help you look it over. Like, don't put it off. Like, take your time to read it and understand it, and take as much time as you need to know what's happening and to be careful. Look for all the potholes and pitfalls. But You know, this isn't something you can like wait a month to do, or a few weeks even. You gotta like get this ball rolling, because I think on the other person's end, or the other entity's end, this other energy that you're dealing with, something changed with them, which is why I think they want to get in touch with you now, get the ball rolling now, fulfill this now. Maybe maybe they ran out of money or something, and they just want to send you an invoice now, and like and maybe you agreed to pay them later, you know, something like that. Something changed somewhat abruptly. It's not super serious, but it has them like a little off center. It's got them in like not a desperate state, but almost desperate. Like, ah, crap, now I have to deal with this. Now I have to bring in you Libra, and finish this contract up, and I gotta finish this now because the situation changed, and it might not have been part of the terms. So now this person wants to maybe change the terms a little bit, make sure it's all above board, you know, have sympathy for this person or this energy, try to understand where they're coming from. That's that courteousness and righteousness. I don't get the sense that they're trying to screw you over in any way. I just get the sense that they are also between a rock and a hard place. Maybe that's who's between the rock and the hard place, is this other person and not you, or this other energy and not you. It's hard to tell here. It could be either way. But I think there's honesty here. There's just a little bit of maybe embarrassment, reluctance and reticence, but a slightly desperate need to finish this agreement, maybe to renegotiate or to just really get the ball rolling, because things moved a little bit too quickly for this person, or the situation changed. So be very, very careful. Make sure you're not being taken advantage of. I don't think you are. This coming out on the planetary spirit of Venus. I think everything's fine. It's just a harried, unfortunate situation. And just use caution and keep your mind clear about what's going on here. Oh, here we have analysis. Yeah, make sure you really look at the fine print. Make sure you know who you're involved with, you know the ins and outs of this agreement, the consequences of not fulfilling it, or of fulfilling it in a different way, or of, you know, just all the potential pitfalls and potholes and loopholes, and all those little caveats that might come up. You really have to knuckle down, and you know, if you need professional guidance in this, it's advised to get it. You know, don't don't underestimate how tricky this situation might be. If you need to call upon assistance, like you really should. If you're guessing or second guessing, just do it. You know, it might, you know, the worst that could happen is that you waste a little money getting professional assistance here. But if you don't get that assistance, you might miss something. Whew, Libra. But again, I don't think there's deliberate deception or anything like that going on. It's just a tough situation. I don't think you have to have any bad feelings for anyone involved or anything like that. You just gotta watch out. Maybe they called a dark elf to help them. I don't know. I'm gonna pull one token for you, Libra. Round this reading out. Let's see if we can get something helpful for you here. What does Libra need to know? The moon. And the number 2. Okay, so there is something a little hidden going on. There is something that you're unaware of. I think whatever this tower, this upside down tower was that happened with this other energy, this other person perhaps, I don't think you know what it is. I think it's just something that happened on their end, and they might not even want to bring it to light if they don't have to. There might be some embarrassment here, and if they can like solve this problem, or fulfill their contract, or they can get you and them to fulfill this deal or this agreement without talking about why it's come up in this way, why it's so hurried now, if they might want to avoid the subject because of some embarrassment. And this might be where you have to be courteous and allow that to happen, as long as you know all the terms and how the agreement's going to be fulfilled, and it's not a bad thing for you. Let them save face, right? Like, don't pry if you don't have to. Of course, if you have to, and if there's something sketchy going on, that's a different situation. This might not really be your reading. But I think this is like someone just has some type of problem, and it might be like a personal problem or some embarrassing situation, and they really don't want to tell you about it, and it's pushed the timetable forward, and they're in a hard place, and they are hoping that you will be compassionate with them and not not pry too much, not get angry with them, and just smooth it over. They're really hoping for just a smooth transaction and finishing this all up. Yeah, I don't know, but you do you. You read the room, you read the situation, make sure you keep yourself safe, and don't get taken advantage of, because this is just a YouTube video after all. If there are specific things you really need to pay attention, if there's something here not resonating or jiving with you, that's totally fine. Like, you gotta think this through. Although I do get this sense that everything is above board. It's just a crappy situation. So, Libra, I think that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I always appreciate you stopping by. Forgive me if this one was a bit weird or off color, but don't shoot the messenger. But I always appreciate you hanging out with me, Libra. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.